try to do a short but hopefully informative review of the Lunicycle. The Lunicycle is a seatless unicycle. The first and I think most useful tip I can give you is that the first thing you should do the moment you get your hands on it and you've assembled it, assembly takes 5 minutes because it just has 3 parts. First thing you should do is to change the screws here. Generally the build is quite solid, it's metal, but the leg support is plastic. There are small screws that connect the leg support to the metal pedal. These screws are under a lot of tension because of the leverage applied to the leg support. The screws are generally too small and too short. So change the screws, I've changed mine, so that over time when you fall, when this thing hits the ground, when there's a lot of pressure applied to the leg support, the screws don't give way, the plastic doesn't crack. The spare parts tend to be a bit hard to get hold of, so you're better off preventing any damage from happening in the first place. So I think it's a bit difficult to compare directly a traditional unicycle and a Lunicycle. Most people who get their hands on this may already have some kind of unicycling background. I don't think there are many people who learn this from scratch without knowing how to unicycle first. It took me a couple of weeks to learn to use this. I already know how to unicycle. However, I do find that there's certain advantages to this. First of all is that it has a lower center of gravity. So if you tend to fall off, your feet are already quite close to the ground compared to a normal unicycle. So when you fall, it's kind of just walking off. The wheel for this Lunicycle is not a perfect circle. It's actually sort of an ovoid. So this helps you go past the dead zone from when you are in the 12th and 6th position. Okay, normal unicycle of course has a round wheel. Now, it is easier to free mount the Lunicycle compared to a traditional unicycle. I was able to free mount this. I cannot yet free mount my traditional unicycle. Now, I'll explain why it's easier to free mount. For unicycling, we would usually start with the pedals in 12 and 6 position, dominant foot on the 6th position, the pedal in the 6th position. Then we'll transition to the 3 and 9 o'clock position, and then start cycling. That's when you're learning. But for free mounting, you will have to try and free mount in the 3 and 9 position, right? For a traditional unicycle. However, for the Lunicycle, it is possible to free mount in the 12 and 6 o'clock position. And because it's easier to hold this position at the beginning, right? And you can free mount with your dominant foot here, right? The off circular shape of the Lunicycle means that you can quite easily power through after that. Whereas for a traditional unicycle, it's almost impossible to free mount in 12 and 6 position. And even if you could free mount in this position, after that it's quite hard to power through. Now, the other thing that might be useful is that if you, when you start learning to cycle a Lunicycle, is to wear long pants because there's quite a lot of pressure on the calves from the leg support. Over time, you tend to get used to this, but when you start off, if not, you're going to get bruises on your calves. But over time, you get used to it. So it is quite a fun and unusual device to learn. And if you think you get a lot of people very curious if you're cycling a traditional unicycle, you're going to get a lot more curious people once you're around on this. So I hope you find this helpful. Thanks for watching.